All right, greetings. It is a pleasure, as always, to be here. Thank you for allowing us into your space and your time. We are deeply grateful for the opportunity to be able to convey our wishes to you. We would enjoy very much taking you on a journey. For those of you that are interested in our work, that resonate with our message, which is the reclamation of joy. We wish to invite you to a gathering a campfire of connecting deep within the wilderness of the earth, where time is held at bay, where space is malleable and occupied only by those whose heart's desires match the frequency with which we broadcast into this now of yours. We wish to gather together those that are curious, interested, yearning, perhaps, definitely keen on the idea that joy is the foundation upon which all principles of life and living can be built upon, where the hearts of those that gather together wish nothing but the peace and joy and liberation of every single being on the planet, everyone. And also know that that means it includes them too. There's no need for self-sacrifice here. Well, you might need to sacrifice a self, but a small self, a conditioned self, yes. But there is, at the heart of all matter, and we say that most deliberately, the capacity for joy to be the building block of your civilization, as it was and as it will be and as it forever can be. And we wish to gather together those who are curious about that, those who are keen to explore it, those who see it as an adventure in consciousness, perhaps seeing themselves as magicians who can work with material reality, not necessarily to bend it at will as such, but more to meander with it along the stream of goodwill, of joy for all, as we have said. Those who are curious about living life differently, for the sake of exploring it, for the wonder and curiosity of imagining it. For the absolute desire of remembering who they truly are, so we don't offer certainty as if there is such a thing. Certainly in a universe of physicality that is just as malleable as yours is, there's no certainty. We do not offer certainty, and we do not offer guarantee. We do offer certainty in our knowing. We do believe that success is guaranteed. It's whether you'll experience it in this lifetime or not, yes? It is important to us that we only gather together those whose desire matches ours, and the desire for joy, which is beyond peace but contains it. It takes work, but of a different nature. It takes a certain amount of effort, of will, but the main effort of will is the effort of not listening to the reality that's been created around you already, and more learning how to settle into the reality that you want to create around you. The support for that is within. And what we mean by the support by that is the structure of that is within, always within. And so where shall we begin? Well, as we scan those of you that we believe are on your way, and therefore already here, it seems to us that you perceive yourselves as some kind of flock that needs a shepherd. That you are somewhat still used to giving your authority away to external power structures somewhat. And you're not wrong, yes. So we want to be really clear about that. You're not wrong in your observations. But we would invite you to be curious about what it would mean for you to put Source as your ultimate authority. What would that mean? How would that look? What would it mean like? What would it mean on a daily basis? So if the source of all, whether you call that nature, 0 point field, the universe, or whatever it is that you're using to name that which you are and that which you are a part of, that which is inextricably linked and connected to your thoughts, your attitudes, your beliefs, your choices and your decisions, your expectations most of all. If you were to put that source as your authority, how would life differ? You would begin to find ways to sift through your beliefs and discover which ones are helping you move towards that which you want to experience and which ones are repelling that which you want to experience. We would invite you to be lightly curious about that. Definitely not self-critical, and also not so punitive about where those beliefs may have come from, but a light curiosity of the internal house that you're building with these structures that you call beliefs or thoughts, ideas about self and others. Because we say lightly curious because it's so very easy to get bogged down in trying to notice every single thought or every single belief. But your reality is kind of showing you already much of the building blocks of your belief systems. So we first of all would encourage lightly a review and a questioning of those, especially those that grip you hard. You may want to ask friends and family that are open to it what kind of things you tend to say and take for granted about what you believe about yourself and the world, what they notice. You may want to get a piece of paper and write down to self, I believe the world is, and just let it flow out of you. No inhibition. Who you're hiding it from, yes, yourself. We're not going to be peering over your shoulder. I believe I am. If only I could believe that let's say that differently. If only I could believe I could. A strange one, but it works. If only they would, I could. People are. And with just those alone, you will begin to see, just let the words flow onto the paper for a few minutes maximum for each of those would give you enough information if you were to cast a curious eye over it, of the kind of patterns. Where's the patterns? What's the general theme here? That could be enough information on its own, yes? And what are your expectations? Because this is part of your internal support structure. The expectations are that which sets the field. What are you expecting? Sometimes another way of saying that is, what are you resigning yourself to? So if you want to try and find out what your expectations are, an easy way to do that, we would always encourage expecting the very best to happen. You added a general outlook of, I expect the very best to happen. And can you feel the potential anxiety of that? You have been taught not to set your expectations quite so high, because then maybe you won't be disappointed. When actually, if you set your expectations low, your disappointment is guaranteed almost, yes, but the opposite is true. Set your expectations as high as you possibly can. Let that be your orientation. And then let it go. But always set your expectations high. It's the lens through which you set the future. A general high expectation is, I expect the very best to happen. And then your attitude. The attitude is the driver. If the expectation is that which sets the field, the attitude is your drive, we would say. So let's play around with the idea of attitude. Is your idea of attitude protective in nature? I'm going to guard against. Is your attitude to life that of curiosity? We would encourage that. It's probably the most expansive yet neutral, welcoming attitude you could have. Is your attitude to beat others to it, to be your attitude of competition, of hierarchy? The attitude of curiosity, of openness, but the attitude of curiosity is the best drive, we would say. And what are your choices or decisions? When you're thinking about reality creation in terms of choices, where are you going to choose to place your attention? We would never encourage you to lie to yourself about how you're really feeling. Deception of that nature it destroys the cohesiveness of self. It's self-abandoning. It's always so much wiser, loving and kinder and compassionate to start where you are. So that would always include never be in denial of how you really feel about anything. and what to really think about anything, as the universe is going to pick that up, that's what the field is going to reflect back to you in a useful, yes? So give yourself the gift of being true to yourself, which can take some courage, some commitment, some curiosity, and some cultivating. It's not very celebrated in your world right now, yes? So when it comes to your choices, we're not just talking about, we're starting off with really knowing how you're feeling and what you're thinking and what you know to be true in this moment for you. Otherwise, what's the point? And then, so what am I going to do about that? How do I want to respond to that? Do I need to pull in help and resources from other places? Do I need to reach out? What are my options here? What am I going to choose? And then the decision. And we would say for some of you that the first decision is, do I want to live my life as though I know I create it all? Is this the worldview and the basic assumption that I wish to provide my foundational awareness of, my foundational knowing of? Is this what I want to be the foundation of in my life going forward or not? It's all right to sometimes believe it, sometimes not believe it, but there needs to be a decision whether you want to be willing to engage in it or not. Sometimes be willing to not be able to create, which you decided you wanted to create. Falling flat on your face at times, dusting yourself off, picking yourself up. But deciding, is this the kind of adventure in consciousness you want to have? Is this the kind of way of life you want to be? And ultimately then deciding that for yourself. Not, so-and-so says it's true, so let me have a go. Does this evoke a knowing in my bones? Does this, even though I don't know how to live it yet, is this something that I want to embark on? Let that be your first decision. And then decide it, perhaps, every day. So those are some of the structural components to the internal support we wish to offer you. And this is how you would put, one of the ways that you would put Source as your only authority. It takes courage, this path. It takes a great deal of compassion, of practice. And another way of putting Source as your authority, your true authority, is prioritizing the feeling of joy, of gladness, not as the only experience, not as the only emotion that's got validity, but we would say that that's the state of wholeness. None of you are broken, though you can believe you are. None of you are faulty, though you can believe you are. None of you are unloved, though you can believe you are. All of you are magnificent beings of joy, bliss, aliveness, exuberance, travelling through the universe like a planet with that much force. Very different from who you have been told that you are for eons, yes? So with that, we will leave you. Our final words were, if you could find joy in every moment, your life would transform inexplicably quickly in most miraculous ways, and that is an ask. It cannot be forced. It can only be allowed, but it is your true nature, for sure. It's almost become a 4-letter word in your world, a ridiculous fancy, or something to work exceptionally hard at. You can't work hard to grasp joy. There is power in joy than you can possibly imagine. Well, we bet you can imagine. Just remember the power, the creativity, the life force, the aliveness that's created when a few of you manage to get together in joy. It's what this world needs the most. And one of your scarcest resources, it would be believed, yes? But we don't want to be dismissive of the complicated nature of prioritizing joy in your life when you look around and you believe in everything that your eyes are telling you. So we'll take it slowly. This is the foundation. Don't try and be in joy every moment of your day. It's exhausting. Know that it's available. Sometimes you'll find it, sometimes you won't. And sometimes people have different routes to it, and we'll speak more to that in the future. But this is the foundational piece. There is structure that we hope has been useful for you to hear about. We would be very interested to watch the ripples of change if people and beings were going around in life affirming that joy is Joy is the foundation of life on this planet. That's the truth. Doesn't mean that you have a